Hi guys, I'm Chantel and welcome back to another bookish video. Today I want to talk about all the series that I want to continue. These are series where most of them honestly I've read the first book, some of them like the first and second book. And I want to continue them. I want to make this video so I can remember them, and also maybe you guys can like give me some push, like yes, you definitely need to finish that series. I went through my shelves and I pulled off all the different ones where I need to finish up. I kind of generally just picked the first book of the series. I've got a stack here. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 books, and there's one that I know that I want to read that I don't actually physically have, so there's 13 different series here I want to finish. Now, in an ideal world, I would love to like be done all of these in the next year. Is that actually going to happen? Probably not. That would be a little crazy. But anyway, let's get into them. I've got a variety of genres in no particular order. There's some middle grade, there's some classics, there's dystopian, there's fantasy, there's science fiction. Yeah, just everything. So this first one is All Systems Red. So this is, from my knowledge, from what I've heard, this is a series that has a bunch of novellas and then eventually continues into like actual length novels. I enjoyed book 1 when I read it last month, and so I plan on continuing at least on to book 2, and then whether or not I continue the series after, I'm not sure. This is science fiction where our main character is supposed to be like a security robot or an assassin robot, and all she wants to do is watch TV. And I thought book 1 was pretty good. I don't know, so I thought I would continue with book 2, see where it goes. I'm not sure I will actually like finish this series. I have no idea how many books are even in the series. Next up here we have Emily of New Moon. I read book 1 earlier this year, and then I want to purchase and read books 2 and 3. I think there's just 3. This is one of L.M. Montgomery's series with an orphan girl, except Emily is a lot darker than Anne, and maybe not darker. Her story is overall just darker, I guess. And I really enjoyed book 1. I've been tabbing, and I don't know if I did a whole lot of annotating, but I have been kind of wanting to do that with these editions. On that note, I happen to know that I also have Anne on here. Now, I read Anne of Green Gables a few years ago and thought it was okay. But then last month I read Anne of Avonlea, which is book 2, and really enjoyed it. So now I really want to continue on with this series. In book 1 here, I found Anne to be interesting, but kind of like a little bit annoying. In book 2, I feel like she like tones herself down a bit and is easier to read, and I'm curious to see where, you know, Anne goes throughout her life. This one is a YA fairy tale retelling. This is Goose Girl. So this is the first book in the Books of Bayern series. I read this book probably 4 or 5 years ago, a number of years ago anyway. Really enjoyed it. So this is a Grimm's fairy tale, kind of like an obscure fairy tale, and Shannon Hale has, you know, redone it. Obviously I made it much longer. And then her next one is Enya Burning, and then there's River Secrets and Forestborn. So I would love to continue the series because I really enjoyed book 1. Then I read a book last month called Caught in the Middle, I think, and so I have book 2 here from the library. This is Caught in the Act. This is a love-inspired suspense book, which, I mean, if you know what I like to read, this is kind of out of character. But in the first book, our main character finds a dead body in her trunk, and, you know, she kind of has a bunch of things happen. It's very stereotypical in some ways, but I really appreciated how the author made our main character to be like a normal person who is creeped out and I don't know, just not so perfect, and I really appreciated that. So this book, or this series, was originally a trilogy, and then a fourth book got added in, so I would like to, you know, read all of them. And they're like really small, short books, so this I should be able to get done. Next up is a trilogy that I read also last month. Apparently I started a ton of different series last month. This one is Midnight in Madrid. So this is book 2. Book 1 was Conspiracy in Kiev. So this is Christian fiction where our main character is an FBI agent. And contrary to like the last book where I said our person was not perfect, our main character here is very perfect. And book 1 kind of grated on me. But because it's a trilogy, I figure I can push through 2 more books to like see how it ends. Hopefully, we'll see if I can. Okay, and then I recently got this book from the library. This is Hollowpox. So this is book 3 in the Nevermore series. First is Nevermore, then Wondersmith. I read both of those in January or February, and book 3 came out, I think, at the beginning of this year, and I finally got it from the library, so I have to read it before it goes back, because I had it requested for like 9 months before I got it. So this is a middle grade fantasy story with Morgan Crow as our main character, and she is set to die on her like 12th or 13th birthday in the first book. I don't remember exactly. And something happens and she doesn't, and then we follow her. It's interesting that the Nevermore series and the Furthermore series both have similar titles, because I feel like I often get them confused in my head. But yeah, anyway, that was kind of like a side note. I'm excited to get to Hollowpox. I have to read it in December, because if I bring this back to the library and have to wait another 9 months, that would just be annoying. And then I've got The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie. This is a kind of like a Sherlock spin-off, but our main character is an 11-year-old girl who really likes chemistry, and apparently this tiny little village that she lives in has a lot of murders occur because she's constantly solving them. I read book 2 just last weekend, or this last week, so I am kind of like, you know, starting back the series. I read the first book a couple years ago, and I own a number of the other ones, but I don't think I own them all in order. Or like, I own maybe like 3 or 4 more books, but I'm not sure if they're like back to back. I'm not 100% sure if you have to read them in order or not. Based on 1 and 2, not really, but I would like to. Yeah, so this is a series that I'm interested in reading more from. I'm not sure I'm going to purchase more at this point until I like read more. Okay, this is one that I'm like annoyed at myself that I haven't got further in, and that's Keeper of the Lost Cities. So this is middle grade fantasy. It's very Harry Potter-esque, and yet I found it easier to read. I almost think this is like a good pre-Harry Potter based, like I've read book 1 and 2, so I haven't gotten very far yet. But our main character is a girl whose name is Sophie? Yeah, Sophie. But there's also a bunch of like side characters who are boys, so I feel like either girls or boys would like this, you know, if you have like a preteen that's kind of into this. And so right at the beginning of book 1, our main character finds out that she's not actually human, she's an elf, and that's why she can like has these telepathic powers where she can hear what other people are thinking. And yeah, it goes kind of on to be very Harry Potter-esque. And I own almost all the books in the series, and I've just been stuck. After I read book 1, I read book 2 right away, and have not pushed myself to read book 3, and I need to do it. So hopefully I can get to that one really, really soon so I can continue on with this series, because I was really enjoying it. This is a nice, fun, light series that I like, and that's the #1 Ladies Detective Agency. So this is mystery meets Africa, honestly. It's our main character is a middle-aged Botswanan woman who decides to open up a detective agency, and honestly the mysteries that come to her are so African. I kind of normally like my mysteries and stuff to kind of be a little dark and gritty and with some twists, and this writing is not like that at all. But I've always had a love for Africa, and Botswana is really close to the country where we adopted my son from, and I don't know, I really enjoy the reading process. I think I've read 3 or 4 from the series, so I want to continue on with it. Another series I started last month. Wow, so many of them. So Assassin's Apprentice was the book that I read last month, and then I want to continue on with this trilogy. This is this adult fantasy or is this YA fantasy? I don't even know. Our main character in the first book ranges in age from 6 to 13. But yeah, this is fantasy in a world where there are different kind of powers. I read book 1. I did not really enjoy it. If I'm being completely honest, I am going to have to push myself to finish this trilogy, but that's kind of where this whole video spawned out of, because I really want to read the whole series to get it done, to get it checked off, so that next year, starting in January, I can start reading the Stormlight Archive. So yeah, I just really want to get this done first. I don't really have much more to say about this, I guess. Apparently I was wrong in my count because I just realized that I didn't have this one on my stack, and I totally should have. This is Aragon. I read this book, book 1, at the beginning of the year and then haven't continued with it. Honestly, this one and Assassin's Apprentice, I feel like they were exactly the same book in so many ways. But in this one we follow a main character who is a boy that's, I think he's about 15-ish, and he comes across a dragon's egg and it turns into a dragon. And I don't know, he just kind of journeys throughout this book. It's just another one. I kind of want to force myself to finish the series. When I say that I want to force myself to read books, I'm like, why would I force myself to read books when there's so many I want to read? I don't know. I don't want to be a quitter, so I want to finish some series. I'm okay with not finishing all of them, but there's just some that I want to know. I want to have that general knowledge of how the entire series goes, I guess. Yeah, so there's 4 books in the series. They're all pretty big. I'm not sure when I'll get to them. This might have to be one of my goals for 2021. I've been thinking about my reading goals, and it might be like continue a book in one of these series every single month. That's not a bad goal. That just came to me. I think I might do that. Okay, and then the last book, to my knowledge, assuming I didn't forget any, is Scythe. I have the tool from the library right now, so this is a trilogy, and I really want to get to it so that I can check this one off my list. This is like a dystopian world where no one dies anymore because they've, figured out how to stop people from dying. And then when you get to any age, really, whenever you want, you can like reset back to any age that you want. So in order to prevent overpopulation, I guess, they've nominated Scythes who systematically go and kill people. They have like a quota they have to fill every year. And yeah, it's an interesting concept. I enjoyed book 1. Book 2, not as much, and I'm dragging my feet on book 3. So I just really want to get the series done because I only have 1 book left. I don't want to leave it hanging forever. So there are like a couple other series that I've started that I want to continue. Obviously I have Skyward here, but there's no other books out right now. So I didn't count books that are currently still, like the series is still being written and I've read all of them. There are a couple other series that I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to continue or not. These are ones that like I at least want to read 1 more book of and then maybe decide from there whether or not I want to read more. But yeah, maybe let me know which series you're most excited for me to read so I can maybe prioritize them. And then yeah, 2021, I'm going to try to read at least 1 book in the series each month. Also, if you're in the middle of any series, let me know, because I would love to know that I'm not the only one that is kind of just leaving things hanging here. Anyway, thanks for watching again, guys.